Hey there, my friends. It's Jen Pitta with By the Shore Stamping. Welcome into another episode of Teach Me Tuesday. Today, I'm going to share with you this card. It was actually not designed by me. It was designed by Bonnie O'Neill, who has done some amazing projects with this stamp set that I'm working with. And she designed this card. I cased that from her because it was just so pretty. We used this at my customer appreciation event this weekend. But what I wanted to show you was how I did this little leaf here. It looks pretty normal. It looks just like a die cut, right? Well, there's a little secret story to the back of that, and it's going to be a great little tool that's in the new annual catalog from June, actually. So it's been around for a little while, but it's easily missed. So I wanted to make sure you saw that because it actually increases the versatility of your dies by like double. So let's go ahead and first take a look at the products we're using. So this is the new Falling for Leaves stamp set from the holiday catalog, which came out on September 5th. And then this is the, I forget what they're called, Detailed Leaves Thinlits dies that coordinate. So you can buy these together as a bundle and save 10%. And I don't really know the pricing off the top of my head, but I'll put those details in the description below. So that's what we're using today. But let me show you what we used to do this special little cutout. So what I used was the new embossing mats for the Big Shot. So what it is it's this hard plate, this thin blue die, and then this, or it's not even a die, it's a pad, and this gray, thicker pad. And they're, I think it's $15 for the three, so it's very inexpensive. And you can basically double the versatility of your dies, because you can use this with any of your dies. And I'll show you what it does. So if you look at this, right, it's embossed. So you can see that these are raised and it's kind of popping off a little bit. Now, if you use this die, so this was using this die right here. So normally when you use a die like this, it just cuts it out and all those little pieces pop out, right? So it looks like this. Well, what I did is I used the embossing mats instead. So instead of those pieces popping out, they actually emboss instead. So you can actually do it just on any piece of paper. So if you wanted to keep it on like the card base, this is what would happen. It would just emboss right into the cardstock so it doesn't die cut it. What I did to die cut this leaf afterwards was I did this with the embossing mat, and then I took the die that matched it and I cut it out. I sent it through again the normal way and cut it out. This one doesn't have a matching like layering die, like this one's too small. So you would have to hand cut this, or you can just, like I said, leave it on the front of a card as an embossed piece like this is. So this was done with our embossing folder, but this is just one of our dies, and you can do it with any of them. You can do it with open dies or the detailed dies, but they work really, really beautifully with the dies that have these little ejection holes. They work fantastic because it just gives it some more depth and character through the embossing. So in order to do that, you would still need your Big Shot, of course. I'm not going to do the actual Big Shot here, but I'm going to show you the sandwich. So you would do your Big Shot platform. So this is the new Big Shot platform that came out, I think it was last year they introduced this. So it's got the two pieces, this piece and then the thin die adapter piece that looks like this, which is pretty mangled. You don't need this piece for it though. So to do that, you would just build your platform with the sandwich with your platform and then your clear cutting mat. And then instead of putting normally you would put your paper down and then put your die down on top of it to cut it out. Instead, what you do is you put the die face up so that the cutting edges are upwards. Okay, and then you put your cardstock on top of that, and I don't know what I did with my piece of cardstock. Oh, it was here. So you would put your cardstock on top of that, and then you would take the gray cutting mat and put that on top of that and run this through your Big Shot. And what you get is you would get like this. It would just be embossed like this. And then I sent it back through the die, the Big Shot with this piece, the normal way. So you would use this piece, your cutting mat, actually your thin die adapter, your cutting mat, paper first, then the die, and then another cutting mat, and you would send that through, and you end up with this. So it just kind of gives you a little bit more versatility so you can see the difference. So now I can cut this with that die and I can cut this with that die. So you get two different options for using that whole set of dies. So it's a really cool little tool and it's very inexpensive. And you may want to know why there's two different mats. This is just a thinner one. This is a thicker one. So it just changes the depth of the embossing, so the amount of embossing based on the thickness of this mat. So if you use the thicker one, you get a deeper emboss, and if you use the thinner one, you get a thinner emboss. So it's just a really cool tool. It's really fun to play with, and honestly, I haven't played with it enough yet, but when I started playing with it this weekend, I was like, oh, I so need to show this to you, because you can totally miss it in the catalog. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on putting this card together for you. So I'm using a, do I have everything I need here? I think so, yeah. I'm using a 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of crumb cake cardstock as the base. And I'm going to fold that in half. And then I'm using powder pink ink on the powder pink cardstock. So this piece measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just gonna, I actually stamped off because I wanted it to be really super light. I didn't want it to be too distracting, and you probably can't even see that actually because it looks like it's pretty well loved after the weekend, so I probably, you know what, I'm gonna flip it over. It doesn't look like I even need to stamp off. I'm gonna go ahead and do full strength. I always like to kind of vary the way my leaves are headed so that it looks kind of sporadic and not in any real pattern. So we'll do that. Just flip that around a little bit so we get a pattern. And then we're using I use the tin tile embossing folder, also from the holiday catalog. I love this one so much. You can do it with the gold foil, you can do it with the copper foil. Any of the foils look really pretty. It looks, we have the new silver galvanized metal sheets that look fantastic. I should have brought one of the samples here because I have a few that I've done with that one, and it's just really, really beautiful. But today we're going to actually ink it. So I'm using the same colors as I'm using for the rest of the cards. So petal pink and soft suede. And I'm going to go ahead and take a sponge dauber, and I'm going to just daub it in the petal pink ink. I have one for petal pink and one for soft suede. And I'm going to do the little flower pieces in the pink. So I'm just literally just bouncing that on top of the pink, or the flower pieces that will now be pink because I made them pink. And that's that. And then I'm going to take the soft suede and I'm just going to put that on these little medallion pieces here. Just a quick little blot on each of those. So it makes a really fun pattern. And I'm going to do the ones up here too, just so that they don't look strange. So there's that. And now I can go ahead and I'm going to tape this down on top of the pink layer. I did this because I'm going to wrap ribbon around it, so it just makes it easier to do that if I layer this. I know this is kind of wasteful under here, but if I put this on top of this, when I wrap the ribbon, I'll have something to attach them together, or attach the ribbon to the back too. And if you were tying a bow, you'd have something to tie it around too, but I'm not doing that. I'm just doing a little wrap. All right, so we're going to do that. And then I'm just going to put a little strip of tape in the middle there. And I'm going to use this petal pink ribbon. It's got a little bit of glitz. It's actually, I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's sold in a combo pack. It's got this color and the shaded spruce color. So it'd be good for Christmas cards for sure, because you could certainly use this pink on Christmas as well. I'm going to go ahead and just attach those down to the back like that. And then I can go ahead and attach this to the front of the card. Just going to use some regular adhesive. And I'm still using my contraband that I had stocked up on when I ran out of adhesive last time. Naughty me. I do have some Stampin' Up stuff in stock now. I should switch back over. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then this is where our little leaf would go. So I'm going to use the emboss piece. You could use this one, but see how it kind of, it doesn't pop off as, whoa, it doesn't pop off as well as this one does, because it kind of, you can see the background through it, so it kind of blends in a little bit more, which is why I liked this one better for this card. So I'm just going to grab some dimensionals, and I'm going to put those on the back here. And one in the middle just for fun. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach that to the card. If I can get this thing off. Here we go. All right. And then we'll put that kind of on an angle. And then it was my customer appreciation event on Saturday. So I even pre-tied their little bows for them, because I know how much they hate to tie bows. So I was very nice, and I tied all their bows for them ahead of time, which they seemed super appreciative of. I'm going to go ahead and attach this with a glue dot right in the middle of the leaf. And I will probably trim this down a little bit. Whoops. Like that. Okay, and then the last thing I need to do is, using that soft suede ink, I'm just going to stamp my greeting on the circle, which I cut out with the Stitched Shapes circle framelits, or Stitched Shapes framelits. It's not just circles, it's circles, squares, and ovals. It's a great little tool in the stamp room as well. So there's our stamped greeting. Just close this so we don't have any issues. And then this also went on with dimensionals. Well, I put regular adhesive under here where it overlaps that leaf, and then dimensionals on that back side. So let me see where exactly that's going to happen. So right about here. So I'm going to put regular adhesive here, and then I'm going to use dimensionals on the other side of that circle, so that it will even it out when it layers on top of the other popped piece. So now I can just lay that down like that. And there you have the finished card. Easy peasy, but so pretty. And I love these new embossing mats. I can't wait to play with them more. I hope you enjoyed this video as well. As always, thanks so much for watching. I will post the details for the products in the description below. And if you have any questions, always feel free to email me at jenpitta@comcast.net. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time for Teach Me Tuesday. Have a great week.